Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Name the dog, Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my news-filled friend Frank. How are you today? Oh, Chief, the news is coming in. Yeah. Well, get your pencils, kid. We got to write it down for the people. Anyway,
Dateline podcast.
Yeah, so...
world is on fire.
We're the worst Dateline in the world. We're so behind on things.
So bad. Yeah, if we're your main source of news, I'm really sorry. That's a bummer for you.
This just in. Neil Armstrong lands on the moon.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Crazy.
They'll never put a man on the moon.
Never. I'm doing quite well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing very well. There's a lot of Comic-Con news or olds to discuss.
There is.
But before we get into that, I want to hear what you're drinking.
I am drinking a Narragansett Dell's Shandy because it's refreshingly different.
You know,
says the can.
It's true. I don't know that I've had one this summer. Maybe one. But I remember a couple summers ago where you and I had them like almost every week. It was like Porch Rocker and Del Shandy back and forth. And
I remember.
On this very podcast.
This is my first one all summer. Now that you say that.
Is it really?
This is my first one all summer.
Wow.
And they're very heavy. That's the only thing I'll say about the Del Shandy. I've been drinking this for a half an hour already, and I'm only halfway through because it's just like sits in your stomach like no tomorrow.
It is heavy. It doesn't taste like a heavy beer, but it sits.
Mm-hmm.
It sits.
It sits.
I am drinking an Evil Genius, Never Gonna Give You Up lemongrass IPA.
That's hilarious because that song is evil. That's why it's Evil Genius.
That's true.
Company putting it out.
Evil Genius has a lot of funny titles to names for their beers, but this is the Never Gonna Give You Up lemongrass IPA.
It'll be funny when they discontinue that beer.
I know, right? Because they did give up.
Yep, exactly. How is it? Lemongrass IPA, you say?
It is a lemongrass IPA, and it's quite delicious. It's got a little hint of lemon.
That sounds good. I like that. I like lemon.
It's good.
I like the Pine Sol lady. I like lemon.
That's just like that.
Just like that. Just like that. So, Frank, there was so much Comic-Con news.
Oh, my God. So much.
And I'm going to talk about this in no particular order, but I've made a list for you.
Yep.
So let's talk about the thing that everyone has been talking about, the fact that Jeff Johns and Dale Eagersham are doing a Shazam comic. Let's talk about
Let's start there. Let's start with the biggest story, right?
Yeah, that's not the biggest story, but that was the random one my eyes went to.
Okay, fair.
No, we'll start right from let's talk about that now. Let's talk about it. Yeah, they're going to explore the origins of magic in the DC universe, and particularly in regards to the Shazam mythology, which is pretty cool. I'm on, but I don't really love that character so much. But I love Jeff Johns and I love Dale Eagersham, so I'm on board to read a book by the both of them.
So I think everyone knows Jeff Johns very well. I mean, I think most sort of big comic book fans know that he's the man behind the biggest Green Lantern stories of the last couple decades. He's behind like the big Flash stories of the last couple decades. He did a really big run on Superman that was well regarded. He's written, I mean, so many things, but he's pretty well known. Dale Eaglesham, on the other hand, I think is probably a little less well known.
I would agree, and that it hurts me. It cuts me so deep because he is
really
so
cool.
He's so talented. He was on Justice Society of America when that got relaunched with David Goyer and Jeff Johns in the mid 2000s, early to mid 2000s. He did a run on Captain America for a while. He did, let me think, he did Secret Six for a good chunk of time. He was on Action Comics and Green Lantern and Hawkman. He did an awesome run with Jonathan Hickman on the Fantastic Four. He was one of the artists on 52, the first weekly series that DC put out. So he's done some excellent stuff. His Reed Richards, his Mr. Fantastic, is my favorite version because he's not a really weedy scientist like, are you actually going to get in a fight kind of. He looks like the Jack Kirby original Reed Richards, who was more like not Doc Samson.
Doc Savage.
Doc Savage. Yeah, he's more in the lines of kind of like maybe like a mix between Indiana Jones and Doc Savage.
Right. Okay.
So that's
cool.
that's the original Mr. Fantastic. Like, I'm going to get my hands dirty and get in here and do this thing. And that's the Dale Eaglesham version of Reed Richards, and it's my favorite. I like it too. That's the version I'd hope to see in the newly acquired Fox acquisition turnover. For now that the Fantastic Four are so close to being back in the Marvel family,
so close you can almost taste it.
That's the version I want to see. So that's the really basic news. So let's then go on to let's just continue in the Shazam theme. Let's talk about the Shazam trailer.
It looks so fun.
It looks super fun. Things that Frank never thought he'd say about the DC universe, but here we are.
It looks fun. It just looks like a fun time, a fun movie. It looks like big, set in the DC universe.
It looks super fun. I love Zachary Levi. He's a Levi. Oh goodness. Oh, like the tribe. Got it. Okay. Like the tribe. I wasn't sure how I would buy him muscular. You know what I mean? Like this big hulking kind of dude. I totally bought it. It totally works.
He pulls it off.
It just seems really, really fun. I know that it's not showing a lot of action. It's a Comic-Con trailer. It's not a wide release trailer just yet, and so it doesn't have everything that you'd see. But I think the kids look fun. I think he looks fun. It just looks like a good time, and certainly feels different than a lot of other superhero movies that are out there. Even though it looks to be it has a lot of those tropes, like we're testing the powers and it's our origin thing. It's a lot of that stuff, but it has fun while doing it.
Yes. Yeah.
Know what it kind of reminds me of? When Spider-Man Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is learning to web swing for the first time, and he stops and he's like, up and away with Shazam,
fly.
Like,
I did say Shazam.
Fly.
That's right.
Yeah,
I forgot.
Yeah.
The Science Award.
Go Web Go. The Science Award.
Go Web Go.
That's the kind of tone and spirit it seems to be inhabiting, and
it does.
I'm about that.
It's whimsical. It looks whimsical. It's not. It looks like it doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's sort of campy and in on the joke, kind of like Batman 66. It's got. It looks like it's going to be a ton of fun, but it also looks like it's going to bring us like like comic book substance. Like the goodness of like, here is the meat and potatoes of this hero, and I'm excited for that. We didn't see any Black Adam in this trailer.
Black Adam's not in the movie.
He's not in the movie. Well, okay. So that's my question is, do you think we'll get like a cameo or something at the end or anything?
I think we're going to get. I think they're saying he's not in the movie. I honestly think we're going to get like an explanation like, oh my God, I'm your champion. Well, there was one champion, and we're going to get this flashback sequence or something.
Oh, flashback. Okay.
But I don't think we're going to see him because Dr. Savannah is the villain of the piece.
But you don't think we'll see Dwayne Johnson at all?
No, I think we're going to get that flashback sequence with Dwayne Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to show up at the end of the movie or anything like that. I think DC's being very particular about ending their films now in a way that doesn't leave us open to be like, oh, that's what they're doing next, because that boxes them into a weird corner.
What about the end of Justice League?
I don't remember it. What happened?
The post-credit scene on Lex's boat.
I think that's the before time. I'm thinking of Wonder Woman. So like Wonder Woman was, even though Justice League was made and produced before Wonder Woman, so you take Wonder Woman as the style going forward.
But there were a good 4 months or so between the release of one and the other. There was time to edit the post-credits scene out.
That's true. I'll totally give you that. I think, but now that Justice League hasn't performed well, besides. Or as to their expectations, I don't think they're going to. Marvel did the same thing. They stopped showing you what was really going to be in the next movie the same way. You know, it's like a normal tag. You know, think about the end of Iron Man 3. The end sequence is Bruce talking to Tony like he's a psychiatrist.
Yes, but the end of Infinity War is Captain Marvel.
That's true, but those movies were filmed back to back.
Okay, my point here is I don't think that's off the table.
Okay,
so I think that's
you've raised a good point. I might retract my statement, but I don't think DC is in a place. DC Films is not in a place to do that.
Okay,
and so they should maybe back off from that, because Black Adam is supposed to get his own movie or be the villain in some other movie, or something like that. So putting him in like at the end of this one being like, Billy Batson, I have to talk to you or whatever. That's not going to work.
Okay.
Right. Because then when he shows up in his own movie, you're like, oh, is Shazam going to be in this? You know, or somewhere along those lines. It's just, you know. Yeah.
I have more to say, but we have more to cover, so I won't drag us down.
No. Drag us out. What are you gonna
Oh no, I mean, I wouldn't mind that. Like, I wouldn't mind a tease of like Billy Batson to talk to you, and then like that would get me excited for like, oh my God, it's The Rock as Black Adam. This is so cool. Like that would make me want to see his movie. But I'm a nerd, you know. Like I'm like in the target market for this, right? And that's not what maybe general audiences care about. So I'm cognizant of that.
I think maybe I'm not explaining myself right then, because like I would like to see that. I do want to see Black Adam fight Shazam because that's his villain. That's the main guy.
I don't need to see him fight yet. I just want to see like a tease or a hint or like a just like
yeah.
So I think your flashback idea would satisfy that for me.
Oh, okay. You just want to see him as Black Adam finally on screen. I do too. Yeah. I just think that the flashback's the safe way to go. Or
sure.
You know.
And they've done flashbacks in these movies before, so that's like the precedent set.
That's true. I mean, there's always that. There's got to be a film that sets a precedent somewhere. So, you know, they didn't have flashback sequences until The Last Jedi.
Sure.
You know?
Right.
So, yeah. So let's move on to the Aquaman trailer.
Also looks fun.
I think it looks fun. Slightly hokey. There's like a slightly hokey feel to it.
Yeah.
That I can't, and it's not because it's Aquaman, which I'm sure is the first thought of many people, because Aquaman in of itself is not a truly hokey concept. Nobody looks at Namor and goes hokey concept.
Right.
Because it's basically the same.
Yeah.
So Aquaman came first. Hashtag. Reverse that. I did hashtags wrong.
Strike that. Reverse it.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's something. I think it looks very cool. I like Jason Momoa. He's just not Aquaman to me. You know?
Yeah. He's
a surfer dude, and I don't really know if I want to follow surfer dude through a whole movie.
To me, so Shazam looks fun, and doesn't take itself seriously. I think Aquaman looks like it might be taking itself just a hair too seriously, where it should loosen up a little bit. I think it maybe should be a little. I mean, and maybe the movie is. I'm just saying this teaser we saw or trailer we saw doesn't look. It looks like it takes itself fairly seriously, but it also looks like it's maybe fairly by the numbers. So to take itself that seriously and also be a pretty basic story might make it not as fun to watch, or might make, I don't know. I'm not passing judgment. I'm going to see both of these films. I am going in hoping I enjoy both films.
I agree. I am excited to see Aquaman. It is exactly what the concept of it is exactly what I wanted. I wanted big sprawling undersea kingdoms, like cool creature designs, battles, prehistoric monsters, all that stuff. It kind of reminds me of the tone of The Mummy.
Oh, interesting.
But The Mummy is a film that doesn't take itself too seriously. And I just, maybe it's the way the trailer was cut, but I just need to know that this movie's also got a bit of a wink and a grin.
I hope it does. I hope that it has that, and then they just haven't shown it to us yet. But I very much hope that's the case.
Yeah, it's such an effects-heavy film. Nothing's done yet, and that includes how they deliver a tone.
Yep.
So you can recut anything to fit a certain kind of tone. Look at all those recut trailers. You can watch Mary Poppins as a horror movie if you really want to.
Right. Yeah. We've all seen those, those recut trailers and stuff. Yeah.
So.
I look forward to it. I do think it looks a little effects heavy, and obviously the effects are nowhere near done yet, so I'm not judging it based on how the effects look, but there's a lot of effects. Like, you've got the whole ocean, descending upon this battle that looks like it's going to happen, and that always makes me nervous because, when you watch Phantom Menace and you see the Gungans fighting the droids, are you really that invested in wow, look at the thousands of Gungans like George Lucas was? And there's the footage of him when Spielberg came to visit him on the set of Episode 1. He's like, oh, it's going to be like War and Peace, and it's this big epic battle, and it's like a battle for the ages, and oh, it's going to be so epic. But when you watch it, it doesn't really come off that way because you're like, the computer is fighting the other computer. How riveting.
Yes.
Even in 1999, when that looked as real as it could, you still you knew that what you were seeing wasn't real. Like, you watch a cartoon, it's not real, right? Mm-hmm. So to me, there's always a little bit of disconnect of this is all, but I know this is all CG. It might look incredible. It might look like everybody might look like freaking Gollum, look so realistic. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but I know it's not. In my mind, I know it's not real. So I kind of don't.
Maybe because sometimes movies surprise you and you're like, that's not real, and then you watch behind the scenes and you're like, oh my god, that was all real.
Yeah.
So maybe we have to start approaching this in a way that we start thinking of it as real, like, wow, what a great practical effect, and then be surprised that the dinosaur was CG.
I've started doing the opposite, actually, and I've found that I've started to enjoy things. I finished Arrow, the most recent season of Arrow. I was watching it throughout the summer. I had a few episodes left. I had 10 episodes left. And
what did you think? I
really enjoyed it at the end. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you why specifically. I stopped watching it the way that I watch Supergirl or Smallville or anything. I stopped watching it that way, and I started watching it let me watch this like I'm reading a Green Arrow comic. Specifically, let me hear all the dialogue and all the acting choices and everything like a comic book. And once I started watching them through that lens of, this is not a TV show, this is a moving live action comic book, my enjoyment went through the roof.
Wow. That's
it went
so
through the roof, and the last, I made that decision 3 episodes away from the end of the season, and I just powered through the end and enjoyed the hell out of it. And so I'm making that conscious decision now. I'm going to make that conscious decision when I sit down in my seat to watch Aquaman. I'm going to say, consume this like you're reading a comic. Every cheesy line of dialogue, every suspect choice by an actor for the way they delivered a line, whatever, everything, just consume it like a comic book, and I think I'll enjoy it much more for doing that.
That's very interesting, because I guess you don't read a comic book and go, oh, another splash page.
Who would say that? Who would talk like that?
Another beautiful piece of art for my eyes. you
Right.
know, whatever.
This doesn't look real. These fish aren't real, right? You don't do that when you're reading a comic book. You're like, oh, I know somebody drew this. So just look at it like somebody drew this, but it's on a big screen and it looks a little more realistic. Anyway,
I mean, somebody did technically draw it, so there you go.
Right.
So what do you think about Black Manta? Do you think he looks cool? Or do you think
it
he
looks so
stupid?
freaking cool.
It looks super
just
cool.
I mean, off the page, like walked off the page and onto a set.
Yeah, crazy. Think he looks awesome. We're going to move on. Did you see the leaked Wonder Woman footage?
I didn't see it. It got taken down before I was able to see it. I saw descriptions of it, but I didn't actually see the footage itself.
I wasn't going to watch. It's like a minute, barely. Maybe I think 30, might even just be 20 seconds, just to be honest. But I wasn't going to watch it. I was like, I've seen Wonder Woman a bunch of times. I can just wait. And then it cropped up on my feed. I was like, I'll watch it. And I was like, oh, I do. She's so good. She's just the best. It made me so happy for 20 seconds. And all she does is just lasso two people and jump over the side, like the second level of the mall, and they like hit the barrier. She drops down in front of a little kid, and the kid's like, wow. And she's like, and she smiles. That's it.
I love that. That just,
but it like that's like barely a minute footage. I was like, oh, they've got it. They still have it. They know exactly who she is, and it's amazing.
I'm so excited. Like I'm honestly a little more excited for that movie than I am for the other two we just talked about.
I think so too, but I think you have a couple of films of her, and despite what you think about BVS or Justice League or even Wonder Woman, if you don't like you probably like her.
Yeah.
And everything that she does. So you're fine to watch more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to get sick of her. She's really good at her job.
She's just delightful all around.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the Joker film. Not technically Comic-Con news, but it got mentioned. It's moving forward with Joaquin Phoenix, the Joker origin film. Robert De Niro is circling a part, I believe. I don't think he accepted it yet, but I do know he's in talks to also be in it. Do you think it's pointless, or do you think it's going to be interesting?
I don't care.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. Now, if they...
I really don't care. I really don't.
So, if this was, say, a Lex Luthor film, would you care?
Is Jesse Eisenberg playing the role?
No.
Then I care.
So it's just because it's a Batman villain and not because it's a Superman villain?
No, it's because it's the Joker specifically.
Oh, so if this was a Mr. Freeze film, you'd care?
I'd be intrigued. I'd be like, ooh, that's an interesting choice. But when I heard like they're making a Joker film, I was like, of course they are.
Sure.
And then when I heard they're making a second Joker film and it's a different continuity and different actor, I was like, of course they are.
I honestly don't think that Jared Leto movie's going anywhere, so I don't really care. That's why I said, even when Jesse Eisenberg doing it, I said no, because it's not Jared Leto in the same way.
If they were making two Lex Luthor movies and one was Jared Leto and one was not, one was Eisenberg and one wasn't, I'd be like,
yeah.
What are you doing, guys?
Yeah, I don't completely disagree, but the concept of like an 80, like a taxi driver 80s, taxi driver's the 70s, but you know, all the same.
Late 70s.
That gangster style, dark and almost kind of like the beginning of Batman 89, but you just remove all of Batman from it and it's just Jack Nicholson being a crook.
Yeah.
I'm kind of interested in that. That sounds interesting to me. And Joaquin Phoenix is a really interesting actor and makes usually really good choices. So interesting acting choices. So I'm intrigued more than anything. But DC builds up its multiverse. You can't like DC without liking the multiverse, really. So why not give that to me in a film too, like in your film series? Like that's fine.
That's fine. But, you know, so to carry that through to completion, they publish lots of, you know, Earth 1 graphic novels, right, that are in a different continuity, and I don't bother to read all those. So,
sure.
I mean, I'll probably see the Joker films, but, you know, I'm not excited about them. The same way I'm not excited about every one-off graphic novel that comes out or every Elseworld story. You know, they don't use that title anymore, but you know what I'm saying, those sort of out-of-continuity stories.
I agree with you. Sometimes it's just, like you said, it's character dependent.
Yeah.
Like, I don't read the Teen Titans Earth 1 stories, but I read the Batman, the Superman, and the Wonder Woman ones. I didn't read the Green Lantern one either. You know, so it just depends. Speaking of Teen Titans Go, the movie, freaking hilarious.
I can't wait.
Best comic book movie of the year.
So
good.
Great! I'm so glad to hear that. Can I ask? Do I need to have seen the show to watch the movie?
No, absolutely
Perfect.
not.
That's the answer I wanted.
Absolutely
Great.
not.
Once Movie Pass gets their act together, I'll head over and see it.
You know who all those characters are, so it doesn't matter. But you don't, for the first 20 minutes, don't watch the movie. Watch the signage and anything that's happening in the corner, because there's like ridiculously funny jokes. Like there's a building with a sign. It says Rorschach, RORSHACK. Like get your
like the roar shack.
Like get your burger. Like it's hilarious. So,
all right.
Like the Titans are talking to Superman, played by Nicolas Cage, who is amazing.
Yes.
He is amazing.
Finally.
Yep. And they say something, and he goes, "Okay, oh God, somebody save me!" And he flies away.
I can't wait. All right, I'm probably going to see it by the time this episode airs. I may have seen it already.
That's awesome. If you do, maybe we'll do an episode on it.
Oh, I totally. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, let's.
Yeah. Okay, great. DC has given us a proper name for the DCEU now. They're calling it the Worlds of DC. Did you see this?
I did. It's a little
flubby.
It's a bit of a mouthful.
Worlds of DC. It's that really multiverse thing they're kind of building. Worlds.
Yeah, well, Worlds definitely to me says that there's 52 of them.
Sure.
So,
which there are not anymore, I don't think. Maybe. I'm not sure anymore. Doesn't matter.
There probably are. We just don't know it.
The DC animated universe lineup is releasing a bunch of other films. They announced 4 of them. They usually do 3 a year, but they're doing 4 this year, which is super exciting. They're doing Reign of the Supermen, which we knew, the follow-up to Death of Superman, which is amazing.
Excellent.
It's excellent. We can do a whole show about that if you
easily could.
Yep. Oh, it was so good. One of their best ones, top 5, easily.
So good.
Easily. They're doing Justice League versus the Fatal Five, which Fatal Five is a Legion of Superheroes group of villains. So I bet you they're introducing it. I think that's one of their in-universe films. So I think they're going to introduce the Legion of Superheroes into their in-universe animated films.
Is this an original story, you think?
I think so.
Okay.
Potentially, not sure. They are doing Wonder Woman Bloodlines, which is their extra film. And they did not say if it's a sequel to the Kerry Russell Wonder Woman film.
I loved that movie.
That movie's so good. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be in universe, the Rosario Dawson Wonder
I think
Woman.
so too. I think they have been they don't do a ton of sequels in this universe. It's rare. They do them, but it's not.
No, the movies really do. Those in-universe movies really do match up with one another. Most of them are Justice League and Batman movies. I don't think there are really any other ones. Superman actually might be the first one that sits in its own. So I'm glad. I hope that Wonder Woman is the next one, because the last one is an adaptation of Batman Hush, and I don't think that's going to be an in-universe movie. That's my guess.
I would agree.
Because there's
too many good adaptations don't tend to be in universe, do they?
No, they don't. Right. Sort of. Justice League War is an adaptation of the first arc of the New 52 Justice League.
And it's got the same, all right.
Throne of Atlantis is also kind of an adaptation. So it varies.
Okay.
It varies. Actually, Batman and Son is an adaptation of the Grant Morrison story. So actually, they do.
All right.
Death of Superman is obviously an adaptation. So actually, they do adapt quite a lot. I take that back.
All right. I retract my statement.
I'll watch either version. I think I'd rather watch Hush in its own little separate universe, because there's parts about that story that I like before, like pre-Damian.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Drake is still Robin, and that plays an important part with the Jason Todd stuff. And
totally.
Yeah, so I'd rather go in that direction, but good on them for adapting it, because that's a lot of story to adapt as well. So we'll see how that goes.
Can we talk about Titans next?
The Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about the DC Universe app and Titans and Young Justice. Titans, screw Batman, right? Am I right? Huh?
Yeah,
Right?
F Batman even. What is your overall thought on that trailer?
I think it looks a little hokey, but I think it looks like a really well-made fan film, and I'm not saying that in a disrespectful kind of way. I'm thinking as people who are professionals who are fans made this, and it's a different take on these characters. I don't have a problem with the edge of it, the darkness of it. Like, people are like, Robin killed all those people. I don't actually think he did. Like, that's not, when I watched that trailer, he didn't look like he killed them to me. That he looked like he hurt them a lot, but he doesn't look like a murderer to me. But I don't know. I think it looks good, but something about it doesn't settle right in me yet. I can't figure out what it is. What do you think?
Doesn't settle right in you, meaning you're not sure you like it, or you're not sure that you think that maybe there's some misdirection happening there?
I'm hesitant as to the quality of all of it.
Okay.
However, I do think the guy, Brandon Thwaites or whatever his name is, playing Robin, nailed it. I thought he was awesome.
He seems great. Yeah.
He seems great. Actually, the woman playing Starfire, too. She looks amazing.
Yeah. I love her look, actually.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, she's on her way from that. The first episode, she's on her way home from a costume party or something like that. So that's what we see in the trailer is not what she looks like all the time.
That's interesting. Okay,
but her, especially the effects when she lights up and that, super cool.
Super cool.
Really, really cool.
I've never seen a live action Starfire real adaptation of Starfire.
There's never been a live action
one?
Starfire.
Okay. So there you go. And so I was curious how they would handle that, and I think it looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wonder if what we saw was shots from the pilot, and maybe there's some kind of a twist that we don't like. I heard someone, I wish I could remember who it was, or I would give credit, but I heard someone hypothesize, what if this is all what if the really violent murderverse looking stuff is a dream or something, or is some not reality. Which is an interesting concept. I don't know if I buy it, but it's an interesting concept.
I don't think that's true. I think they're going I think this is their Netflix character version.
Yeah. This is their Defenders. This is
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Daredevil, especially Jessica Jones, is a horribly violent show.
Oh my God, yeah. So I think this is that.
So much. Yeah, I think that it's for adults. It's not for kids.
It's not for kids. I'm not sure it's for me. I'm going to watch it through that lens of, if this were a comic book, would it work for me? My worry, it looks really cool. My worry is that I'm going to be yeah, but Robin wouldn't do that. No, but this character wouldn't say that or wouldn't do that. Or at least the character as I know them, as I read them in Teen Titans, wouldn't do or say that. And if granted, it's not Teen Titans, it's Titans, but still. Yeah, the characters are who they are. So I do wonder, would Dick do that? I don't know. That's what I'm worried I will feel. I hope that the show is so good that I won't care.
I don't disagree, though. Him saying F Batman is exactly what Dick Grayson would do before he becomes Nightwing. The whole point of him becoming Nightwing is that he and Batman weren't getting along. He moved out and hated Bruce, hated him in the worst way possible.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
And so that's extremely true to that character. And Dick, above almost any other DC character, has a mouth on him. If you really read those, but he's just not in a good place where we meet him.
Yeah.
But probably the arc of that character is the Titans brings him into a good place.
So that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see none of them in a good place, and they need each other because family and stuff.
Yep, because family and stuff. Yep.
It's not the family you have; it's the family you make. Blah blah blah. Yeah. So I think that's what we're going to see overall, and we're going to see his transformation from Robin into Nightwing, which is great because we've never seen that on film before.
That's true. That would be really cool to watch.
Yep. We've only seen it in animated form in Batman the Animated Series.
Sure.
And if you remember in that, he didn't like Batman then either.
It's true. It's
the
true.
fourth season of Batman the Animated Series, they didn't talk to one another.
They didn't talk, but I don't know. I don't know. I feel like there's a difference between like not talking and like F Batman. I feel like there's a tone difference between you said season 4 and
kids show. Yeah.
But a kids show, exactly. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Listen, we have a couple items left and not a lot of minutes left, so why don't we kind of cruise through a couple things, kind of quickly, because we've got Clone Wars was saved.
Okay, yep. I can do a bunch. Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Young Justice Outsiders. Did you watch Young Justice / did you watch this trailer?
No. Tell me about it.
You're missing out. Young Justice has literally every character in the DC universe ever in it. It's incredibly truthful to every version of every character that's ever appeared ever.
I love the sound of that.
And Outsiders looks incredibly good and continues in that vein.
Yay. So
do recommend. Check it out. The Return of Star Wars, The Clone Wars, a show that I've never finished.
I'm not caught up on it either. I was in the last season that aired. And I never
That'd be season 5.
I was in the beginning of season 5 and I never caught up, and then it never finished, and I was like, oh well, I guess I have no reason to finish now. But now
you do.
Now I do. I always enjoyed that show. The first 4 seasons I thought were very fun.
I think it's definitely not our demographic, which is why I have a little bit of a hard time getting through it. But I know the show becomes a little bit more mature as it goes, and I just haven't reached that. I just haven't reached that point yet. But I want to see the lead-in right to Revenge of the Sith, because that's the point of this season, and it's only 12 episodes or something like that. So I can buckle down and even keep Clone Wars on in the background until then.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited about that. It's actually only going to be on the Disney streaming service,
it is.
though. So I don't know how I feel about that.
I feel like I'm going to sign up for a month and binge it and then cancel my subscription.
I will do that with you, indeed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Grant Morrison and Liam Sharp are going to take over Green Lantern comics. How do you feel about that?
I'm excited for Grant Morrison on Green Lantern. That is, come on, give him the cosmic franchise within DC. That's like, why didn't we do that 10 years ago?
Do you know what he's doing with it? Did you hear?
No.
What he said? He's stripping it down and making it simple, and it's a beat cop story.
That is not what I expected from Grant Morrison being given the Green Lantern Corps. Okay.
Yep. He said that for years and years, it's always this universe-ending stuff. But people forget that the Green Lanterns are actually space cops.
I love that.
It's going to be following Hal Jordan as he walks his beat.
Do you remember that Keith Giffen op-ed piece from a few years ago called "Why Doesn't Anybody Rob Banks Anymore"?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, seriously. Well, I mean, I think we all know why, because they're always going to get stopped.
Yeah, but I love the be creative and work within these confines and see if you can tell a good story within these confines. I love that.
I agree. Tomasi and Doug Monkey are going to be on Detective Comics, which is also exciting.
Now listen, that is some premium talent, and of course, Detective Comics is. I mean, it's literally the flagship title of the DC universe, right? It's what the whole universe is named after.
That's named after Detective Comics, DC, right? Tomasi is one of the most underrated but best utilized writers.
Far underrated for years now. He's not new. He's a veteran, and he is. Did he write the Death of Superman movie?
Yes,
yeah,
he did.
And it was so good.
He is one of the best writers. I've never read a book of his that I didn't enjoy. He understands character voice in a way that very few people do.
I totally agree. Well, he wrote Green Lantern Corps, I feel like, for 37 years, and it was always good. I dipped in and dipped out, but it was always consistent.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. All right, well, 2 things really briefly, not comic news, neither are Comic-Con news. One, James Gunn got fired from Guardians of the Galaxy for tweeting something that he tweeted and apologized for before he worked for the company that fired him. What do you think?
Ooh, I think it's too complicated to weigh all the pros and cons and ins and out of that right now and right here. But
totally agree. Let's
very
move
complicated
on.
situation.
Totally agree. Let's move on. He's got a lot of support behind him from the people that he works
cast
with. So, yeah, and so we'll see. Let's see how that turns out. Second thing, Star Wars Episode 9 started filming. They have told us that Leia is coming back using unused footage. Carrie Fisher will return. I am super happy about that.
Yay,
Her
me
story
too.
needs to be resolved, and they figured out a way to do it. Good on them. Great.
I was really hoping they wouldn't kill her between films, and I was really, really, really hoping they wouldn't recast her. So I'm really happy they found a way to do it the right way.
Yep, they figured it out. Good for them. And everybody seems to be, most people are on board, which is great. Lastly, they started filming, and JJ released a bit of concept art. Did you see this?
Ooh, no.
Oh yeah, he released concept art, and it's Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren at Castle Mustafar, Vader's fortress on Mustafar, which we saw a bit of in Rogue One.
Why do I feel like he is basically going to undo a lot of Rian Johnson, or like not undo, I shouldn't go that far, but he's going to pick up a lot of threads that Rian Johnson let fall to the wayside?
I absolutely, because there were a lot of threads that he placed out there.
Knights of Ren being one of them.
Knights of Ren that Rian Johnson didn't run with, so let him wrap up that stuff.
Sure.
When he took that job, he said Episode 9 is going to connect all the way back to Episode 1. It is the full conclusion of the Skywalker saga, as they have been told. 9 films about the Skywalkers.
Bring it on.
Exactly. Bring it on. Let's do it. Here we go. And I am super pumped for it.
Super jazzed. Of course, we also know that Mark Hamill is coming back.
Billy D. Williams is coming back.
And Billy D. Williams! I'm so excited for OG Lando!
Yep. I don't care if he's in 2 seconds. There he is. Great. Yeah.
That would make me happy.
I hope they film his scenes early, is what they really should do.
I hope so, too.
Because not that he's not doing well, but, like, he is old. Like, he's in his 80s.
Yeah.
So
I would just say just get him on set, sooner
get
the
him on
better.
set, do his thing, and then call it a day from there. But I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Mark Hamill. I think he's going to be a consistent presence. I think one with the Force Luke is going to be the Luke Skywalker that everyone wanted to see.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I was satisfied with The Last Jedi, but that was cool.
I was too, but I don't think he's going to be curmudgeon anymore.
I think you're right.
Because his arc in Last Jedi makes him not be a curmudgeon at the end. And so I think we're going to see Zen Luke, which is what people wanted.
There are no curmudgeonly Force ghosts.
That's true.
We've never seen a curmudgeonly Force ghost. So
that's
I think
true. That's true. We've seen Sullen. Obi-Wan can get kind of sad sometimes, but that's about it.
Sure. He felt defeated, but he wasn't curmudgeonly. He wasn't like, kid, get off my lawn,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And Yoda only got more whimsical when he became a Force ghost. So
it's true. That's very true.
Young Skywalker.
Oh, what a great place to end it right there. So you can find us on beerwithgeeks.com. You can find us on Gmail and Twitter and Facebook at Beer with Geeks. You can rate and review us on iTunes and find us other places podcasts can be found. You can check out all other Thought Bubble audio shows at thoughtbubbleaudio.com. You can check out Frank in September at Dragon Con. Frank, say some things about that.
Less than a month now, folks. Stark Expo Live is where we're doing live podcasting during Dragon Con in Atlanta, right down the street from Dragon Con. If you're coming to the con, come hang out with me. Let's be friends. There's going to be Brian Austin, Green and Ian Ziering from 90210. There's going to be Derek Russell and Steve Glosson, Steric together in person. You can see them live on stage. It's going to be so much fun. I'll be the master of ceremonies. A splendid time is guaranteed for all. StarkExpoLive.eventbrite.com. It's for charity. It's live podcast. It's fun. Come be friends.
Sounds great. Okay. Frank, any last things to add?
Boomer lives? I don't know. No, I don't. I don't have anything yet.
Okay, great. Great job. Okay, well, until next time. Cheers.